Yes, guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to this evening's live stream for the preview for Chelsea versus Crystal Palace in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. The Blues looking to put the midweek's heartbreak against Real Madrid and the Champions League exit behind them and bounce back by making a third consecutive FA Cup final and hopefully getting a first domestic trophy since 2018's FA Cup final under Antonio Conte. So there's plenty to get through today as well. Obviously, a little bit about the failed bid from the Ricketts now, with them pulling out, which is great news for us fans, not wanted at all at the club. And yeah, plenty to get stuck into. Bro, pleasure as always for you to join me. Looking forward to getting stuck into this one. First things first, though, mate, how are you feeling after Madrid? You recovered? I know it's been a few days now. Tuesday night, it was a tough one to take. So close yet so far from Mission Impossible. Have you recovered?
Yeah, I have. Good to see you, mate. I have recovered. I felt at the time an almost immediate recovery from it because of how well we played. I was looking around that squad and I was thinking, if this sale goes right and we get a good look in at the next window and we buy intelligently, Rice, for example, would be amazing, and additional attacking strength that comes off. We with Tuchel and this squad, if they continue developing the way that they are, have got a chance to dominate. We've got a chance to make a serious challenge to Liverpool and City and become the sort of course, we're already a footballing superpower, but the dominant footballing superpower in Europe. And I was really excited by that. We can go toe to toe with anyone right now. We proved that. We went to Bernabeu and we pumped 3 in. And if it wasn't for a moment of just, you've got to applaud, footballing genius from Modric, it would have been curtains because they weren't scoring. And we weren't screwing up either. You know, we weren't going to cart it. We were on form. But Modric unlocked the game with just that piece of genius. And everyone's been, there's been chat on this channel and you've done the whole debrief. But immediately I wasn't like heartbroken because we played a poor game or that our Champions League dream was over. I was actually quite excited about our future. After like what was a serious showing, Mount playing like we know he can, Rubin playing like we know he can, all these guys just stepping up. It was great to see.
Yeah, no, it's definitely plenty to be positive about. And I agree, it was tough to take because we came so close, but we showed great heart, great desire, and as you said, we can go toe to toe with anyone in world football on our day. It's just the only bit that's missing is the consistency over a 38-game season. I fancy us in a one-off game against City or Liverpool every day of the week, but it's just that consistency over the 38-game season that we're still missing. And ultimately, that's why we're coming up short in the league year after year. And in the cup competitions, we're kind of getting away with it because you don't need the same level of consistency. But I think it's great that despite the fact we won that game, obviously we're out, so everyone's gutted about it. How important is it then, do you feel, that we've got another massive game straight after it to focus on and try and make another FA Cup final and get a domestic trophy on the board for the first time since 2018? I think it's a lot better that we can, stay laser focused with the fact we've got, an opportunity to make another final rather than it being, sort of just a run of the mill Premier League game, say like a shitty like Burnley away or something. No disrespect to them, but do you know what I mean though? Like the fact we've got like another massive game, another big opportunity, another big game which you seem to thrive in, and there's an opportunity to make a final. Tuchel saying in his press conference this morning, that it's good that we've got such a big game to follow so soon after that one.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with that? Are you glad that, like kind of that disappointment as such is being followed up by an opportunity to immediately make a final?
Mate, you and I have all played sport and athletics throughout our lives. You know what it's like after you take a stinger. We both know what that's like. And it's not dissimilar in life. You will take a stinger. The boys took a stinger in the week. That was, you saw Rudiger afterwards. He's out of control. The boys took a real stinger. It doesn't come much tougher than that. And the quicker you can shift your focus and channel that heartbreak, that disappointment, that negative energy, and channel it into something positive. And well, the sooner the better, basically. And it's clearly a positive. It's clearly a positive for the guys, and I'm excited, and I'm actually very confident about the weekend. It's easy after we just put that showing in at Bernabeu, but of course this is a different competition, entirely different situation. So we will have to see, because you never know with Chelsea. But you do feel as though the response is going to be good. We're very good at responding.
I mean, it's not necessarily a response needed as such. We did win the game at the Bernabeu. It's not like we lost. We're not really looking for a response. We're looking for a continuation of that. It would potentially be a third FA Cup final in a row. Obviously, our record in the FA Cup is fantastic. Obviously, last time we won it was a 2018 one. Eden Hazard with a penalty beating United 1-0 under Antonio Conte. But unfortunately, the last two we've lost. Lost to Arsenal, lost to Leicester last season, that was a tough one to take. Obviously, we kind of softened that blow by going on to win the Champions League in Porto, but it's almost
like we had our chances last year as well. That's a game we should have won.
We should have won that for sure. But I mean, obviously, last year we kind of used that FA Cup final disappointment to spur us on to deliver that Champions League trophy. It's very much kind of roles reversed this year with the disappointment of going out in the Champions League. We really need to win this FA Cup. I'm not saying the season would be a failure without it, but you'd be very much feeling did we deliver this season or did we not if we don't get this FA Cup? How important now, given the fact that we went out of the Champions League, is it that we deliver this FA Cup? Not just for that fact, but the fact we've also lost the last two finals and we haven't won a domestic trophy since 2018. This does take on real importance.
I think, how many trophies have we won this season? Club World Cup
and the Super Cup. But technically they don't count as a bit weird. Like when they sort of do the trophies as such, it goes down as last year's prizes, because obviously the Club World Cup was postponed from December due to COVID, so it moved to February.
Yeah.
So I know it technically counts as a trophy this season, but it's very much kind of that it doesn't get
with that. We baked that cake last season. Took that out of the oven at the beginning of this one. You can't really say that we've got any silverware this season.
Well, we do, but I get your point. We haven't got anything major,
And I don't necessarily know what our season is if we don't win this FA Cup. I think there's quite a lot on it. I think we're in entirely different circumstances, but the Europa League for United last season was actually really big for them.
It was massive.
That final loss was crushing and set a precedent for them. And I don't think that we're in a similar circumstance, but it feels just as big. It feels really big for us if we're to remain in the conversation as one of the top three or the third best club in Europe, or us, Liverpool, City. If that's still to be a thing, because let's face it, they've got a better side at the moment than those two clubs both do.
Yeah,
sides than we do. If we need to remain in that conversation, to remain in touch, win in the FA Cup will go a long way to that, because we're way off in the league. We are, and you can feel it. And I think it's really big. I don't know what you think, but I definitely feel as though it's an important one for us.
Oh, mate, it's absolutely massive. I think the top four is pretty much safe. I don't think there's any danger of us dropping out of that, to be perfectly honest. I think no. So this takes on real importance. And, for all the, success in Europe, we've had the success, the Club World Cup, etc. The fact of the matter is, you're kind of judged on what you do in your own country, in your own league, domestic trophies. I'm not necessarily saying League Cup as such, but certainly the Premier League and the FA Cup. And we want to be a dominant domestic force. And like we were when Jose first came, like we were in the early kind of 2010s when Carlo was there, when Jose come back again, teams winning leagues and dominating domestically. We're winning league and cup double under Conte, league and cup double under Ancelotti, League Cup double Mourinho, obviously League Cup rather than FA Cup with the league. Domestically, we've won nothing since 2018. That's not good enough for a club like Chelsea. We're not making finals. We're making finals, but we're losing finals at Wembley. Last four finals at Wembley, lost. League Cup against City under Surrey, lost. on penalties, lost on penalties against Liverpool this season. Last two FA Cup finals, as we touched on, both lost. This is really, really important, that we get to the final and we win this trophy, because
no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, domestically, we've not won for a while. And, if we were to make the final, which I think we will, I know this is very presumptive, but if we were to lose again, that's 3 FA Cup final losses in a row. As much as winning becomes a habit, you then get a reputation as chokers on the big occasion. And we've proven that we're not. But if we were to lose 3 in a row, you would have to very much say that you couldn't argue with us being called chokers on a big occasion, because the evidence would be there to suggest it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily... Chokers, yeah. I mean, geez, I don't think anyone would accuse at this stage of Chelsea being chokers.
No.
But I do know what you're saying. It's crucial, and it's going to be, it's going to be a tough final if we make it. You've got to imagine. I mean, we'll speak about Palace, but the form that we're on going into the game, you've got, beating Real Madrid, 6-0 drilling against Southampton. You've got to imagine that we're going to get a result. You've got to imagine that we're going to go through.
Yeah.
I think you've got to be confident in that. I know Palace are on good form, but you've got to be confident in that. And then we'll be faced with another tough final. And it's these little margins, that make and break careers, that make and break managerial careers, player careers, legacies for sides. So we will see, mate. But I completely agree with you about the importance. You've hammered it home for me, mate.
Yeah, no, it is important, and as fans, you love the days out, like watching your team win the finals and stuff. I mean, there's nothing worse than walking back down Wembley away after the Carabao Cup final and seeing that arch lit up in red and hearing the "You'll Never Walk Alone" being sung by the Liverpool fans. Like, it's one of the worst feelings as a fan. I can't imagine what it's like as a player to lose a final. You need to channel that and make sure that you put it right next time. And we've got another opportunity. And our record in the FA Cup has been absolutely phenomenal in recent years. I mean, this will be a 3rd consecutive final if we get there. We've won it a number of times. So, we've got the players. We definitely got the squad.
It's actually really, really big. Like, we need this. We need
yeah. I mean,
because City and Liverpool will both have silverware this season.
Yeah, for sure.
Liverpool already.
Carabao Cup.
They beat us in the final.
Yeah. One will get the league, and one of them will win the Champions League. So yeah, it's important we get our hands on one of those on this FA Cup. But yeah, it's domestic trophies are really important. We need to start winning on it. We don't want it to extend, another year with no domestic trophy. It's been what. If we don't win one this year, that's 4 years it would be with no domestic trophy. That's a little bit of a worry, and that's not good enough for a club like Chelsea. It really isn't. But it's absolutely, mate. It's definitely not on. In regards to kind of, obviously, we saw a very strenuous game in the week against Madrid. We saw, surprisingly, the same lineup from the Southampton game started against Real Madrid. I wouldn't expect to see then again after 120 minutes against Madrid to see the same lineup against Palace. I'd expect there to be a few changes. I know it's Tuesday to Sunday, so there's been a little bit of time to recover, etc. It is Sunday afternoon.
It's hard with Tuchel, mate. You sort of don't know. I would be surprised, yeah, but I feel like I'm always surprised. In recent times, anyway, with our starting lineup. Or at least with at least some aspect of it.
Mate, I know not to question it ever again. Like, you see anything, why has he done that? And it's just like, he knows what he's doing. Nine times out of 10, it always works. And you're sitting there afterwards thinking, why did I ever question that? But yeah, sometimes the team sheet comes out and I'm thinking, midweek is a classic example. Jesus, he's gone Timo Werner in attack. He's gone Ruben Loftus-Cheek at right wing back. And you're thinking, you're thinking like, Jesus, Tuchel's got a set of bollocks on him to play those boys in the Bernabeu. Ruben not even in his natural position, and they both were played really, really well. So fair play to him, mate. As I said in the review of that game, the biggest compliment I could have given Werner for that match was the fact when he went off, we were worse. That's the biggest compliment I could have given. Because we definitely went down. But in terms of what you expecting the approach from Chelsea to be very much the same, mate, heading into this game. I think Tuchel knows how important it is. The players will know how important it is. it's, yeah, it's kind of like very much all hands to the deck and make sure we finish the season off on a high. We've got, 7 games left in the league and potentially 2 more in the FA Cup, providing we win on Sunday. So we're very much in the finishing straight. So it's very much kind of all hands to the deck. That meant siege mentality and best give it everything we've got.
Are we a pressing side?
I think we can be. I think we showed against. I think against Southampton we showed that when we press high up the pitch and you win the ball high up the pitch, with putting in more tackles, winning those transitions, that we can be a pressing side. But then you see us on other occasions and we don't look like a pressing side at all. But the pressing only works if everyone does it together. It's no good if we're pressing from the front and it's only Mason Mount that's pressing and no one else is pressing. Like, it only works if he presses a unit. It doesn't work if just one person's doing it.
No, it's very true, mate. I don't think we can characterize, though, in the same way we can't I was just thinking about tactically how we're going to approach this Palace game. Do I imagine that we'll press? I don't know.
I think we will. Maybe not for the whole 90, but in sections of the game we definitely will.
Yeah, I mean, I guess everyone does at a certain point, but in the same way that it's like an identity at City.
Yeah,
like that's what they do. That's that.
Yeah,
I think obsession in your their final third, they will pump.
Yeah. I think we're still developing an identity. There's no doubt about it. You look at City, clear identity. Liverpool, clear identity. Chelsea at the moment, we're still finding that identity. It's not quite there yet. Like another one, Atletico Madrid, absolute clear identity. You know exactly what they're going to do.
That was mental.
Yeah, but you got clear identities. Chelsea at the moment, we're not quite there. Tuchel still hasn't been here that long. He's not even been 2 seasons in the job. So, it takes time to develop an identity. And I'm very much sure that he will get there. But yeah, it's difficult to know what to expect. Are we going to go with a back 3 again, back 3/back 5? Or will we revert to a back 4 and see 3 in midfield?
Are we going to have Ruben at thingy again?
Well, this is the thing, with Loftus-Cheek having played so well at right wing back in the Bernabeu, it'd be harsh to drop him. But then, Reece James, is he going to play right centre back again? Do we maybe move Ruben into a 3-man midfield? There's a lot of decisions to be made.
There's so many options.
And there's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason why Tuchel's paid the big money, and us fans kind of, aren't essentially. Yeah, because just now just literally in that 30 seconds or so, it's like there's 3 or 4 decisions to be made, and it's like.
I know. I would just be guessing. I'd literally just be guessing. I would just pick,
No, it is difficult. It really is difficult. But Wembley, big pitch. I think it will suit us. We're used to the big occasion. For Crystal Palace, though, let's just have a quick word on them. As RD said in the chat, mate, big up as always. You can't underestimate Palace and Vieira. I think that's very true. I think a lot of people at the start of the season, when Patrick Vieira came in to replace Roy Hodgson, Crystal Palace had an ageing squad. Things weren't going that well. A lot of players out of contract. And a lot of people, myself included, thought Patrick Vieira would really struggle, perhaps be one of the first to be sacked this season. But fair play to him. He's massively reduced the average age of the squad. He's made some great signings, and they're playing some phenomenal football. Really, really good stuff. I think they're 8th or 9th in the table, or might just be a little bit lower than that. They've had some great results. They've beaten Arsenal 3-0 at Selhurst Park. They've held Manchester City 0-0 at Selhurst Park and beat them away. City didn't beat Palace this season. We struggled against them. We just got a last-minute winner at Selhurst Park. We in an awful game. Palace have done really, really well. And even Thomas Tuchel himself, when asked about Crystal Palace in the presser, he was very, oh, not that one. This one here. He was very complimentary, saying, they've got energy, high level of commitment, real team, close to the coach, calming the situation down, a fantastic job, created a fantastic team full of individuals, very dangerous counter-attacking team, very tough to play against. I think that's absolutely right. I mean, how careful do we have to be? Because obviously for Chelsea, making semi-finals of FA Cups and semi-finals of competitions it's kind of like, I don't want to say very much the norm, but it's to be expected. For Crystal Palace to make semi-finals, big occasions, it doesn't happen very often. They've got absolutely nothing to lose. They can fully go for this because no one's really expecting them to win. And that can be quite a dangerous proposition when you're playing a side with nothing to lose. They can kind of enjoy the occasion, give it their all. They're there on merit. And, I think it's going to be tough. I'm a little bit nervous. I mean, because it is always a worry, isn't it, when you're playing against a side with nothing to play for, essentially. Well, not nothing to play for, but I mean, there's no pressure on them because no one's expecting them to go through.
Yeah, well, it's your classic. It's your classic, and you see it in sport the entire time. And it's one of the things that we love about sport. We love the underdog story, and on top of that, it's not as though we're just going. It's not as though Palace, a lesser side, a considerably lesser side, have got into the position that they've got into, and it's all sort of one-off, random type situation. They've got there on merit, as you say. Like they've got there as a result of putting in quality performances under Vieira, and they're really peaking. You see the games at Selhurst Park. It's popping. Like the atmosphere is going there. Like and the fans are into it. Like Tuchel says, the team, they're close to the coach. It's interesting, isn't it, Vieira? It's interesting how that whole thing's played out. Like I think we've seen a lot of players that we watched play now becoming managers. Lampard, Gerrard, and you see it in the English game. Vieira. Obviously, Gary Neville went to go. Managed, didn't go well. Zidane, Pirlo, a lot of these players that we know, loved and respected have gone on. And success has been really patchy. And Vieira looked like one of those, certainly at the beginning. It was just, Henry, for example, didn't go well at Monaco. You felt as though it could potentially be a similar situation, but it hasn't been. And he's killed it. And he's actually really galvanised his players. I like watching Palace play. Like I watch Palace games.
They're a good side.
They're a banging watch. They're a really good side. They're on form, and they will back themselves. They will be going into this game being like, "We can do these, and we can get into a final." Like they will be as confident as we are.
Oh, absolutely, mate.
So
and they've got some very good players as well. Obviously, we've sold them a couple. We sold Mark Gahey, 21 years of age, centre back from the academy. He had a fantastic breakthrough season. Recently got his first England cap in the last international break. He didn't make a first team appearance for Chelsea. We got 20 million quid for him, I think. And he's gone on to become a really good player, a great centre-back. He's already, at 21 years of age, he's captain in his first full season of Premier League football. Looks like a real top defender. And it's, again, testament to the Cobham Academy. We can't keep all these guys. It's just the way it goes. You can't keep every single one. There's just not enough space in the team, not enough space in the squad. So, it's great to see him doing well. You always think, maybe we could have kept him. But you can't keep everyone. Elise has been great. Obviously, Wilfried Zaha, which we know about, is fantastic. Even Mateta up front's been good. The guys in midfield as well. Obviously, Chelsea loanee Conor Gallagher. We'll get onto him in a sec. He's been phenomenal. Really bright future. I think he'll have a part to play next season for sure. As RD in the chat saying, Elise is a great footballer as well. Eze might be coming back from injury. They've got some really good players, some good young players, and it's going to be a tough ask. But let's quickly move on to Conor Gallagher. Obviously, he was on loan at West Brom last season. Returned. He's now gone on loan to Crystal Palace. He's having a phenomenal season. He's getting a lot of goals, a lot of assists. He's the heartbeat of that midfield, really crucial to how they're playing. Unfortunately for Palace, he won't be playing at the weekend in the FA Cup final. That's the terms of the loan agreements. As that's not set by Chelsea, that's set by the FA and the Premier League, that Palace would have known that this situation could have occurred this season. There was a possibility that it could very much be the case that we might get Chelsea in the cup and he won't be able to play. Obviously, you probably wouldn't bank on it being a semi-final, but it's unfortunate. They did put a request in to let him play. Chelsea rejected it. I think rightly so. No, Vieira wasn't best pleased about it. But having said that, if it was the other way around and it was a Palace player playing for Chelsea and we put an appeal, and damn well Vieira is not going to be like, yeah, all right then, yeah, you play. It's just not going to happen. I mean, Tuchel's saying,
I think that would be wrong. I think that would be wrong as well.
Yeah, he said in his presser today, mate, that where is it? Here, I think it's this one here. Let me just bring it up. He said that I had a chance to speak to Conor and could see his frustration. I mean, coincidentally, we met a few weeks ago in a restaurant. We had a chat. The subjects came up, and I apologised. He added that I understand his frustrations, but these were the rules when we sent him on loan. And then he goes on to admit that he would rather play a Palace side without Gallagher in it, which I think obviously all Chelsea fans would, because Palace are infinitely better with him in there. It's just one of those unfortunate situations, isn't it? That the rules are the rules, and this has kind of occurred. And you would love to see
Gallagher and Tuchel bumping into each other in a restaurant.
Yeah.
What are those lads up to?
Well, obviously going out for dinner, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, I guess if both live in London, chances are probably quite high. I guess those guys kind of frequent the same sort of places. It's unfortunate, but the rules are the rules. But yeah, I mean, you can obviously understand how disappointed Gallagher will be. It's an opportunity for him to play on one of the biggest stages at Wembley, FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea. It's an opportunity to show Tuchel what he can do on the big stage. I know he's shown him over the course of the season what he can do in the Premier League and stuff, but this is a massive opportunity. And luckily for him, he probably will get other opportunities to play in these games. But you can obviously understand his disappointment, because it's going to be a big shame for the lad.
Yeah. What do you think about that rule? Like, I know it's written in the agreement and it's the rules, but let's just talk about what we think about those rules.
I don't know. It's a tough one.
Why shouldn't he basically the loanee, the people loaning the player, don't want the fact that they're loaning the player to ultimately detrimentally impact their club's chances at winning silverware?
Of course, but it's the same. It's the same with everyone, though. Like when you loan someone out, they can't play against their parent club.
But yeah, I know it's the same. But what do we think about?
I'm not sure. I can understand it, because from a perspective of if you've got a player and you're loaning them out, if that player scores like a winning goal or contributes to a win against you, your own player ultimately could end up costing you the chance of winning a trophy or staying up or whatever it is.
I do. Yeah, actually, to be honest,
like that's. I don't know how often. I don't know if that's how many times that's happened, if it's ever happened, but I'm sure it does happen in similar circumstances. So you can fully understand that. But then I do agree with this as well. It's a tough one. Should be allowed to play and prove himself against Chelsea. It's the ultimate audition. Yeah, I fully get that trail of thought as well.
Audition going too well, do we?
Yeah, this is the problem. But I mean, ultimately, the rules are the rules. It's a shame, but he'll have a part to play at Chelsea next season for sure. He'll get a look in pre-season, definitely. But yeah, obviously, it's a shame for Palace that they're going to be significantly weakened in their midfield area through no fault of their own. It's just unfortunate circumstances surrounding the situation. Obviously, it's a completely different conversation to have whether the rules of loans should change or not. But ultimately, Palace will have no Conor Gallagher. And it's a real shame for the lad to be sitting out such a massive game, but it benefits us, and that's kind of, I guess, from a selfish perspective, that is the most important thing. Last thing then, mate, before we move on to the team, very briefly, I'm not going to go too deep into the ownership situation, but I'm just going to bring this up now. Obviously, the ownership thing is dragging on a little bit, but we're getting somewhere now. And this lunchtime, it was four consortiums. It was the Ricketts, Todd Bowley's consortium, Stephen Pagliuca's consortium, and obviously Sir Martin Broughton's consortium. But this lunchtime, it broke that the Ricketts-led consortium had withdrawn its bid to buy Chelsea. The group has confirmed in a statement released to the Press Association. Chicago Cubs owners and their partners opted not to submit a final bid for the Chelsea, with consortium members understood to be unable to agree the final composition of their offer. Chelsea supporter objections around Ricketts' family patriarch Joe Ricketts' historic emails are understood not to have played any part in the withdrawal of the bid. The Ricketts Griffin Gilbert Group has decided, after careful consideration, not to submit a final bid for Chelsea FC. In the process of finalising the proposal, it became increasingly clear that certain issues could not be addressed given the unusual dynamics around the sales process. We have great admiration for Chelsea and its fans, and we wish the new owners well. So obviously, you never know you don't know what's true and what isn't true. You're not going to come out and release a statement saying, "Oh, by the way, we're withdrawing because of what the fans said." You're not. You're gonna. I'm not saying that's a lie, but I'm inclined to think that there's probably a slight fabrication of the truth in that statement. But ultimately, the Ricketts have pulled out, which is what everyone wanted in the first place. No one wanted them. I just want to say a big thank you, to everyone that's, the guys that did all the digging to find these historical emails and the things that.
So what were they? What
it was basically like, I can't remember the exact phrasing, but obviously they weren't a fan of Muslims. Referred to kind of referred to black people as you lot. There's some not good things being said. Great, well done to the guys that dug those things up, brought them back to light again. Everyone that was used the hashtag No to Rickets on socials. We kept that trending for a number of days, which I think made a big difference. And obviously the process that was organised as well. I know the attendance perhaps wasn't as much as what that the organisers might have wanted, but it all makes a big difference. And ultimately,
so what ultimately the sale was opposed by the fans because
their views don't match the club's values and the fans' values, basically.
We don't want to be owned by a bunch of like xenophobic racists.
But yeah, exactly that, mate. So they're out, which is fantastic. Obviously, there's now 3 left. The preferred bid, I think, is going to be submitted to the government potentially week commencing 18th of April, so from next week. But we're not going to go too deep into that, mate. I just wanted to get your thoughts very briefly before we go into the starting lineup on, I'm not saying the fan movement against it, the fan backlash was solely responsible, but how important, again, we saw with the Super League, I know this is slightly different, but fans really do have a voice. And I guess in all walks of life, not just a situation like this, but how important it is for you to make your voices heard.
100%. Oh my goodness. Look, the extent to which you can credit, like you say, the Ricketts consortium pulling out, to the extent to which you can credit the fan backlash.
Yeah, you can't. It's not there's no tangible way to measure that, but
whatever. This stuff makes a difference. This stuff plays. This stuff is a big deal. Optics are front and center of this Chelsea purchase. It is all about how it looks. It's all about how it looks. And if there's a lot of hullabaloo about it, if there's a lot of intense chatter about it, as there would have been with the Ricketts, and the people involved in the sale would have known that, this would have played a part. And you've got to give respect.
They all know.
You got to give respect. You got to give respect to the people, like you were saying, who were speaking up, doing digging, making their voices heard, organizing stuff. I think that's sick, and it's essential. Like, you recognize your power. Like, for example, in the Super League, it's very easy to think as a fan of a football club, as a employee at a company, as a citizen of a country. My voice, my protest, my vote doesn't mean anything, or isn't going to make a difference. No, like, it is essential. It is what you have. It is your only weapon, and you must use it. It is your only force. It is your only, tangible asset when it comes to shaping the world in the way that you want it. So I'm a strong believer in that, and respect to everyone at Chelsea who opposed the sale because of all the reasons we just spoke about. I think that's great. Fan power is a massive thing. People power is a massive thing.
It's absolutely huge. And you can guarantee, there's. I mean, obviously, I know you don't go on Twitter that much and stuff, but like people backlashing. It's going to make no difference. Well, why bothering to do that? Are the same people that would have been complaining like mad had these guys got in. Oh, why didn't we do anything about it? Those people can go fuck themselves. As far as I'm concerned, there's
always going to be people who.
There's always naysayers and discreditors and stuff. Let those people be bitter. They're obviously not enjoying their lives. This is what. We do what we do, to make a difference, and this is our football club at the end of the day. The football club is nothing about the fans. And,
exactly.
This is the next chapter in the club's history, and it needs to be the right one. And ultimately, whether you like it or not, however big or small it is, it's made a difference, and it's ultimately influenced the decision in some way. So that's a big plus.
No doubt, mate. No doubt.
That's a big plus. But, mate, let's get into the lineup then for Sunday. Easter Sunday. Trip to Wembley. I'll be attending. Hopefully my record improves. Never actually seen Chelsea win at Wembley, so I do apologise in advance if we lose again. We'll be 3rd consecutive game, mate. We'll be repping the yellow strip. Mate, I love that yellow strip. Maybe it's a good omen. 6 against Southampton, 3 at the Bernabeu, and we put on a clinic, and we're back in the yellow strip on Sunday. Big decision to be made in goal, actually. Kepa's played every round. Mate, Kepa's played every round of the FA Cup, but we saw in the Carabao Cup, despite him playing every round as well, that Tuchel, when it comes to the final, was not afraid to drop him and put Mendy in. I know this is a semi-final, but it's still a big occasion. Do you think Kepa will keep the gloves, or do you think, or can you see Tuchel replacing him with Mendy? Who do you think is going to get the nod between the sticks? Who would you go with?
I'd go with Mendy, but I think he'll go. But that you just never know. Tuchel knows these guys, and what he's got is the day to day. How's Mendy doing this morning? How's Kepa doing this morning? How's so and so doing? How have they been this week? How are they dealing with the Madrid thing? Where are they at within the context of this particular competition? So I'd go with Mendy, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Kepa there. I think it's actually more likely that Kepa's going to be there.
Oh, mate, do you know what? I'm just going to take a bit of a gamble. I'm going to go with Kepa. I mean, that could be wrong.
I've sold you,
mate. I think he'll play. If we get to the final, he won't play. But I think semi-final, he will play.
Hang on, are we saying this formation?
I think so. Purely based on the fact that, I just think we're going to go with it.
Okay, yeah.
I just think it's tried and tested. It what works. It's a big game, regardless of the opposition might not be as big as say a Liverpool or a City or whatever, but it's still a big game. It's tough. We went with the back five with in the Bernabeu, and it became kind of like a hybrid four defended as a four off the ball. Ruben slotting into midfield a little bit to make an extra man in there. It's still. I'd stick with the back three. Do you think we could see a back four?
I mean, yeah, I think we possibly could.
I mean, it's possible.
Let's stick.
Let's stick. Obviously, mate, we don't need to say too much on two of them. Rudiger and Thiago Silva, I presume, would definitely be two of your three. Rudiger was absolutely phenomenal in the Bernabeu in midweek. A real leader alongside Thiago Silva. The third one's where it gets interesting because obviously Andreas Christensen was overlooked in the Bernabeu. Chalobah seems to be out of favour at the moment. It's not going to be Malang Sarr. I don't think we're going to see Aspie there. But then, do you play? If we're going back three, do you keep Reece James in there, or do we go Christensen in there and put Reece James out and Ruben misses out? I mean, what do you think?
Does Zaha play on the left?
Yeah, but he could. Yeah, I think so. But they could just switch it though, so it doesn't really make much difference. It doesn't make too much difference.
Exactly. It's not like a Vinicius situation. I don't think we'll see Reece.
No, I think we'll see him at right wing back.
I think he'll be a right wing back. I think we'll see Christensen.
Yeah, I think that's who I would have gone with. I think we will see Christensen return. And it's a big game for him. I know his Chelsea career is kind of winding down now, very much on the way out. He's on his way to Barcelona. But I think Christensen will play. I think he's probably slightly ahead of Chalobah in the pecking order. I don't think we'll see Aspie there. So yeah, I guess almost by default it's Christensen. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something different from Tuchel. You never know what Ace Tuchel's got up his sleeve when he's picking his team. Let me just quickly bring this up. Good point from Texas Blue. We played a back four against Palace at Selhurst earlier this year, and we were awful. That is very true. We were dreadful with a back four against Palace, and that was the back four when we played four centre backs. So, yeah, I think a back three would be better. Reece James, obviously, mate, right wing back. No conversation needed. He put in a world-class performance in the Bernabeu. He was outstanding. He's been outstanding the vast majority of this season. There's another big occasion at Wembley for him. He's an absolute shoo-in, isn't he, mate? He's just a superb player. Moving to the left-hand side. Obviously, we saw Azpilicueta there in the first leg against Madrid. Marcos Alonso played in the Bernabeu, and he was outstanding, mate. He put on a clinic. He was really good. A great performance from him. Would you expect to see him again? Last time at Wembley in the Carabao Cup final, again he kept Mo Salah really quiet, and he played superbly well. I think he stays. For me, I think he stays. He stays in the team.
I think he'll play.
Yeah, I mean, thoughts on Alonso's performance in the week? He comes in for a lot of criticism from Chelsea fans, rightfully so sometimes, but in midweek he stepped up and he was faultless.
He's like that now. He's that sort of player. You don't play him week in, week out, and when Chile's back, he'll struggle. But he turns up, mate. He's a big game player. He's got spirit, and he understands the Chelsea DNA. You know, he's a winner, and he steps up, and it's great to see it when he does.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. Moving into the midfield, then we saw Kante and Kovacic starting midweek. I mean, Jorginho's not having a good season. I personally wouldn't start him. Kante,
no, definitely not.
Kante, by his own standards, has not had a great season. You know, he's had occasions, he had matches where he's played very well. I thought he did well against Madrid, but he should have been subbed off after 70 minutes. He looked knackered. But when he's fit, Kante seems to play. So, I mean, I wouldn't start Jorginho. I don't think he'd go with Ruben if we're going in this system, despite how well Ruben's been playing recently. I think Kante is going to play, and Kovacic has to play. You know, he's 27 years of age. We have to be building our midfield around Mateo Kovacic. You know,
Kovacic is a whip player. Like
he's so good. Like we're missing so much when he doesn't play in that midfield. For me, he's the first name on the team sheet, 100%. Just very briefly on midfield, that's a big area that's going to see some change over the summer. We've got guys coming back from loan, Gallagher, Gilmore, and we're being linked. We need a holding midfielder desperately, in my opinion, someone that can play alongside Kovacic in a 2 or potentially see us switch to a 3. Kante and Jorginho are both out of contract at the end of next season. There's some big decisions to be made there. I'm of the opinion that, you know, that we should be selling Jorginho this summer. He's not had a good season at all this year. We can still get some money for him. He's got suitors in Serie A, and then maybe keep Kante. But again, I wouldn't be opposed to perhaps seeing both of them go. I mean, what are your thoughts briefly on that? You know, if we shouldn't be renewing both of them, in my opinion, at their age, early 30s. If you're getting rid of one, who are you getting rid of this summer?
Jorginho.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the majority of the mistakes that you see in football and in life really are people thinking that the situation that is current will remain the situation.
Yeah.
For, you know, as though you got Kante out of form and you got Jorginho out of form, and it would be a mistake, I think, to envisage that that's it. What are we saying? Yeah. Kante's done?
No, he's not. Really? No, he's definitely not. No, he's not done.
No, but are we saying that we're never going to see him at the levels he's been at? I think actually we probably will. I think Kante will find a way, and that there will be another season of him.
I think we have to use him differently now. Now that he's getting a bit older, we can't expect him to have those all-action performances as consistently in his earlier years. You know, it's just not going to happen.
I don't know any player who got used like he did. Like, you know, like he got beasted, and you know he had injuries, and he was playing on injections for like long amounts of time.
That will catch up with you, and I think this season potentially it is. But yeah, I agree. I think if we're going to get rid of only one of them, it has to be Jorginho. He's been a great servant to Chelsea, and he's had some fantastic stuff here for the club. But ultimately, this season his form has just nosedived, and you know he's not actually that important to the side, particularly from the off.
He's not.
He's not really. I don't like to say it, but
you know, he's not like an essential cog.
No, I wouldn't say he is. Last season, I would have said that, but this season, I don't think so. Moving on to the front three, then obviously. Romelu Lukaku is back in training. He was back in training yesterday, so he should be fit and available for selection. We will get to him shortly. Front three players, for me, absolute shoe-in. Money Mace. Big Mason Mount, right-hand side.
I love
big game player. Turned up in the Bernabeu, was fantastic. Ever since he had his haircut a few games ago, it's been superb.
Really, so bad. My bonnet not good at the moment.
Yeah, maybe you should go for a Mason Mount buzz cut. But yeah, he's been superb. And people saying he's not had a good season, or they don't think he's been as influential. The guy has got, I think he's got 20. I think he's got like 20. I think he's got maybe 25 goals and assists combined this season. I think it's 25. Only Salah and Son have got more goal contributions in the Premier League than Mason Mount this season. Yet people are saying he's not having a good season. I mean, the guy's 23 years of age, and he's demonstrated why he's an essential piece of the Chelsea jigsaw, and he will be for many years to come. And it's another big game, and he's a shoo-in to start this match for me. Mason Mount on that right-hand side. Anything to add on Mason?
Nah, mate. I'm a massive fan of Mason Mount. You know, his form will come and go, but his quality, his classes remains. And I cannot wait to watch him continue his journey to the ultimate destination, which I don't think anything apart from injury could stop him from reaching, which is him becoming a Chelsea legend.
Mate, the next thing I'm about to say is something that I didn't really think I'd be saying on this channel, is that I am going to advocate for Timo Werner to start this game. 100%. Timo. No, he has to, mate. Honestly, last two look, Timo, by all accounts, very well liked, etc. You know, obviously a nice guy. He tries his best. He's not delivered in a Chelsea shirt. But having said that, praise where it's due. Timo, in the last two games, has been outstanding for us. Really, really well. Quality. Many people, including myself, thought the Southampton one was not a flash in the pan, but very much team-specific. But he went to the Bernabeu against Real Madrid, and he was outstanding. And I think Timo is a massive confidence player. He's played really well for 2 games, 4 goals and assists in his last 2. To be dropped for this, whatever you want to call it, to not be selected from the off from this game, given the form he's in, I think would be quite hard on him. So I very much think he should start in this game for sure. Pulisic, for me, not consistent enough. His cameo off the bench at the Bernabeu was awful. It was dreadful. And I'm not blaming him. He's not the reason we lost, as I said in the review of the round. He's not the reason we lost. But when you come on and you're fresh legs in the attack, you need to offer something. The attitude wasn't there. Didn't look like he was bothered. Offered absolutely nothing. And for that reason, mate, Timo has to start. You know, he's influenced the last 2 games. Pulisic in a half against Southampton, not very much. And then his cameo off the bench against Madrid offered nothing when we really needed something, to be honest. So as much of a talented boy as he is, and I'm not slandering him or anything, just saying it how it is from my opinion, like Werner, for me, has to start over Pulisic this weekend.
No brainer, mate. Get Timo on.
Get Timo on. Right. Moving on to the last one then. I'd say Kai Havertz, to be honest. But, you know, Lukaku's back in training. I think probably he'll be on the bench, but do you think there's a chance we could see Lukaku from the off or not really?
I doubt it. It would be surprising. I mean, can we just speak about Havertz for a second? Like, I have been speaking to a few of my mates, fellow Chelsea fans, and like, you know, football fans in general about Havertz. I think it's weird because I don't have a great deal of relativity on him. My introduction to Kai Havertz was him joining Chelsea. I wasn't aware of him really beforehand. And he's obviously like a patchy start. He's coming into some form. And all of a sudden, people I know, Liverpool fans, City fans, just football fans, are being like, yeah, I'm jealous of Havertz. Like, Havertz is going to be one of the best players in the league. Havertz is going to be your best player for a really long time. Havertz is whip. And I'm like, yeah, I see it, but it kind of comes as a shock to me that people are talking like that. What do you think?
Mate, I think he's obviously had the big moments, the Champions League final goal, the winning goal in the Club World Cup final. He's had 2 big moments, but in terms of his Premier League form, realistically, Havertz has only he's been very inconsistent in the Premier League since he joined. And his form in the last, certainly since the start of March, we've seen a vast rate of improvement in Kai Havertz. Very much so that, you know, he's showing the talent and the ability that we paid the money for, and we know he's there. And let's just remember, this is a young kid. He came over from Germany, new country, in COVID times, very difficult, new league to adapt to, arguably one of the hardest leagues to adapt to. Very physical. You know, he had a slight frame. He seems to have, you know, beefed up a bit physically now. He's more up for the battle, etc. These things take time, you know. It takes time. I don't think people understand the pressures on you when you join somewhere for big money, new country, very difficult environment and situation, and it takes time. And, you know, fans and people don't like to give players time, you know, oh, it was cost X amount of money, so therefore he must instantly be good. It doesn't work like that. You know, yes, there'll be a bigger expectation if someone's paid a lot of money for you, but the principle is still the same. Whether you've come from a new country for nothing or whether you've come for 70, 80 million pounds, you know, people need to appreciate that it's very difficult. It's not just, you know, it doesn't work like, oh, you scored goals in Germany, so you're going to come in and you're going to be really good in the Premier League. It doesn't work like that. It takes time. And Kai Havertz now is adapting to this league. I say he's still adapting, but he's showing real promise. And the biggest thing for me is that is that he's influencing games now, and we found a position for him. Very much under Frank Lampard, you know, it was almost like we were shoehorning him into the team anywhere we could kind of fit him. We saw him play like as a 10. We saw him play left, right, sometimes in a bit deeper in midfield. It's almost like we just putting him all over the pitch, didn't really know what his best position was. We've now stumbled across a position that suits him down to a T, in my opinion, number 9. He's not afraid to get in the box, drop deep into midfield, or move either side. So there's definitely real potential there, and he's definitely one to like for the future that Chelsea is going to be a big part of Chelsea. But yeah, promising signs, still a long way to go for sure. Let's not kind of beat around the bush and pretend he's a finished article. He's not. We definitely.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We haven't seen.
People are telling me that he's like away and he's done and he's quality and he's like. He is,
but like, let's not get carried away. You know, he's been here nearly 2 seasons, and we've had moments, as I touched on, which we'll be forever grateful for. But in terms of his week in, week out consistency, it's not quite been there. It's not really been there for much of his Chelsea career until, I'd say, start of all of March and this month, where he's actually, you know, he's starting to deliver on his promise. So long may that continue. And I think, you know, there's always going to be doubters of players. It's just the way it goes. People love a scapegoat. People love to have someone to blame for what's going wrong. And there'll be people that prefer other players. You know, a lot of people like Christian Pulisic, a lot of people like Kai Havertz or whatever it is. It doesn't mean that, you know, like everyone wants players in the Chelsea shirt to do well. It's as simple as that. But you have to call it how it is. And when players aren't performing, you call them out. It's as simple as that. Not in a sort of a slanderous way, but, you know, you have to say that it's not good enough for some people. And some players that are at the club currently perhaps shouldn't be there next season. But that's just the way it is. But, you know, it's Kai Havertz, I think, there's a lot of potential there. And we're starting to see what we paid the money for. So I'd very much expect him to start again over Lukaku. And that rounds out the team. I like the look of that team on paper. Not too many changes from the lineup from midweek. A few there, but again, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tuchel perhaps try something a little bit left field. Maybe see something a little bit different. Maybe see Ruben continuing at right wing back. Who knows? It wouldn't be against that per se. He's done very well last 2 games. But yeah, I mean, that's the team. It looks good. In yellow again, so that's a good omen for us. Mate, one thing remains. Score prediction, Easter Sunday, trip to Wembley. What are you saying? Are we making our 3rd FA Cup final in a row?
Yeah, I think we'll win 3-1.
3-1. Okay, mate. Sounds going with a 3-1. I think it'll be a little bit closer. I fully expect us to get the job done, but I think it'll be a 2-1 for the Chelsea and a 3rd FA Cup final in a row. That seems like a good point to round out. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for getting involved in the chat. Really appreciate all your support and all your comments. Goes down very well with us. Bro, thanks for your time as always, mate. Pleasure to talk all things the Chelsea. Guys, please make sure you smash a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Edging ever closer to that 400 mark now. We're on the road to 1K. My aim by the end of this year is to get to the 1,000 subscribers. It's going to be a big ask, but, you know, just going to keep doing my thing and hoping to get there, which I'm sure I will. So, yeah, if you could please smash a like on the video, make sure you click that subscribe button. Help me reach 400 first, ideally over this weekend. 15 to go, so let's make a big push and get it done. Thank you so much for all your support as always. Enjoy your Easter weekend, and I will be back on Monday. I'm going to Wembley on Sunday. There'll be a match day vlog coming from there, so I'll vlog my match day experience from there. So stay tuned for that, dropping on Monday. And we'll catch you next week where we've got 2 more Premier League games against Arsenal and West Ham at Stamford Bridge. So as always, guys, up the Chelsea and catch you soon.